So, is it that time in your life yet? Do you feel like your family is complete and you and your spouse want to not worry about changing that? Well, the decision can be difficult, but the recovery doesn't have to be. After your vasectomy, you gotta get testes. Doctors usually recommend a jockstrap and ice for your boys to help with comfort. Well, testes is the best of both worlds. This is for the man who is out on the go and needs to get things done. You get the ice packs from the freezer, strap up, and saddle up. The packs give you at least 20 minutes of comfort, even if you're just sitting around watching the game. And most important, guys, no wet spots. Put on the jockstrap under your briefs and go about your day. They come in 3 sizes, medium, large, and extra large to get your right fit. Now head on over to testes.com. That's TEST-EEZE.com. TEST-EEZE.com. Your wife is going to thank you for the snip, and your testes are going to be thanking me. Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Guys, while you're there, you can go ahead and head on over to the Facebook group and, of course, the Twitter account, not to mention dayspringdiscussions at gmail.com. Anything you want to talk about, of course, put it there, and of course, we will discuss it. And you can find me personally, Slim Dayspring 12 on Twitter and Instagram. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to 2021. That's right, it is the evening of January 1st. Hope you all had a good New Year's last night. Went over to a buddy's house, set up some fireworks, played a couple games, had a good old time. Watched a little bit of a Cobra Kai for review of the new season that just came out today. I'll talk a little about that in a sec. But after that, I am going to be talking about movies of 2021. That's right, guys. Beginning of every year, I do a little review and talk about kind of the films that I am looking forward to within this next year. Spoiler alert, there's going to be quite a few that I talked about last year as well. As you know, there are quite a few films that did not meet their release date last year, so they're on this year's schedule. Hopefully, they will make it this year. But before I get into it, guys, it is a new year, of course, so I'm going to do just a little PSA. Bear with me just for a minute, of course. 2020, I think we can all agree, was a sucky year. It was a roller coaster of a year for myself personally. Everyone's hoping that now that 2020 is done, that 2021 will be better. And, all I can say is, of course, it's only going to be better if we make it better, if we make better decisions. In regards to COVID, of course, a vaccine is out. Hopefully it'll make things better, but it's still not going to get better until we as a people decide to be more careful and make the right decisions and take care of ourselves and those around us. So just because it's turned over to 2021 doesn't magically make everything okay. We have to make it okay by being responsible and good people, much like how our heroes, fictional or otherwise, would do the same. So that's all we ask. You want 2021 to be better? Let's make it better, guys. All right, so now I got that out of the way. Like I said, I'm going to talk about movies coming out in 2021. But first, what have I been doing today? Well, I've been watching Cobra Kai on Netflix, guys. So, for those of you who, don't know this show, it's, a series spun out of the Karate Kid films of the 80s. I myself love the first and second renditions of Karate Kid franchise. The third and the fourth one, which is the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank, not so, loving those, but I love the first two ones. And it's kind of, which one do I like better? I don't know, but it's a toss. It depends on what kind of day you ask me, but I like those two. So I like the franchise. And this show, of course, premiered on YouTube several years ago. And I was curious about it, but I didn't really want to jump on YouTube or subscribe to YouTube to watch TV, is really what it came down to. So I didn't watch it. But of course, earlier this year, the first 2 seasons jumped over to Netflix and it exploded, right? That's when everyone saw it. And that's what happens to a show a lot of times is, a lot of people don't get other, cable channels or streaming services or whatever, but almost everybody has Netflix or has access to Netflix. So when a show comes to Netflix and it's good, that's when it blows up. The Office, it's gone now, obviously, because it jumped over to Peacock Universal. But, The Office, while it was a good show, lived on Netflix. Okay. Shameless, the Showtime show, which I enjoy. Sure, it's gets its views on Showtime, but whenever I talk about Shameless, people are watching it on Netflix. And for me also, after a while, that's when I watched it, was on Netflix. So Cobra Kai coming over Netflix, that's when I jumped on board and started liking the show. My brother, Patrick, he was one of those guys that watched it on YouTube and kept saying it was a good show. You should watch it. But of course, I didn't want to watch YouTube is what it was. And then when it jumps over Netflix, I'm like, hey, Cobra Kai's cool. And he's like, see? Yes, you were right. I know, but I'm not going to, again, I didn't want to watch YouTube. I didn't want to subscribe to a YouTube channel. That's not what, not my thing. I don't need to go and do that. And anyway, did not watch it until it's over on Netflix, like millions of other people. And yes, I do now enjoy it. So let's move on from there. And season 3 was scheduled to come out on, I think it was the 8th, but they jumped it up to January 1st, which is today. I am 5 episodes in and I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed this much as I enjoyed the previous seasons. I like how, in this season we're adding more characters from the Karate Kid franchise from the past. And, we're still sticking with these characters. They're developing. Really enjoying it. So like I said, I watched 5 episodes today. I'll watch a couple more the next day. And if it's something really big, maybe I'll do a season review. Probably not, though. But I can just say, as of right now, halfway through season 3, I'm enjoying it. If you guys are watching Cobra Kai, let me know what you think. Don't spoil anything for me. If you respond back, don't spoil anything, please. But let me know if you are watching Cobra Kai on Netflix. All right, so let's get to it, guys. Like I said, usually when the year starts, ever since I've been doing this little show, I like to come out and kind of give my hopes and dreams almost as to what films I'm hoping will be good this year, in the coming year. There are quite a few times where I feel like I'm let down, sometimes exceeded expectations. But I'm a big movie guy. I like TV more. I say that a lot. I enjoy TV more than I do movies. However, movies are a little bit better to anticipate. I mean, I tried jumping on and seeing if I could find just a quick, easy list of new shows that were set to come out in 2021. Really couldn't find it. Not a quick and easy one. As you guys can tell from the quality of this show, I don't put a lot of effort into it, so I didn't want to dig too deep. But with movies, just jump on IMDb and look under movies and release calendar. And that's how that is. I can just jump on here, give you a list. It's real quick and simple, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm on IMDb. I'm going to run down, based on release date, films that I am interested in seeing or that I have some kind of hope for that they'll be good coming out in 2021, of course, sticking in the sci-fi fantasy comic book genre. And don't forget yourself to fire back with your own list, of course. Give me your top ones for 2021 that you're looking forward to, or, fire back and maybe if there are ones that I name here that you don't think are going to be any good, fire back as well. That's what it is, man. It's Dayspring Discussions. Let's discuss this. Now, before I start, as we know, 2020 was kind of a disastrous year all around. The entertainment industry was hit pretty hard, too, in regards to places being shut down, small businesses, of course, too, restaurants and all that, financially struggled. Some of them had to close down. And movie theaters are kind of in that same spot where, theaters are still struggling to get people to come to the theaters. So they're in a lot of financial trouble right now. AMC's financial troubles have been very public. I myself have gone to the movies several times, in the last couple of months. For Wonder Woman 1984, which was, 26th last week, I rented out a private, party, rented out the theater, got, 18 friends together, and we watched Wonder Woman 84, had the whole theater to myself. Really cool, of course, good being back in the theaters, seeing everything on a big screen. That's an action movie like that. That's where it's best to watch those films. So that's why I prefer to watch them. Now, most studios, I know we're looking to streaming. Disney's looking to streaming. Warner Brothers looking to streaming with HBO Max. But it's going to be different. We're on the precipice of a new age, the streaming wars, as they call it, where, the studios see the potential money to be made in streaming and, not going to theaters instead. I still believe, the most money is to be made is at the theater level. But of course, then they have to cut the theaters in on the profits. So I can see why they want to kind of skip that, bring production costs down. It's all doable. And I think we're in the middle of a revolution or an evolution, I guess, in regards to the way we get our movies. I still say seeing a movie in the theater is the best way to do it. I think theaters, no matter what happens, will still be around. Maybe there'll be a few less of them, and maybe not every movie will go to the theaters, or at least every major film will go to theaters, but they'll still be around in some way. I, love going to the movies. I completely do. To be in a big dark room, watching on a big screen with hopefully a good sound system is the best possible way to watch any movie, especially some kind of action or adventure film. That's the way I see it. That's the way I like it. As long as I can go see those type of movies on a theater in a big screen, I will continue to do so. But, I do have quite a few things on my streaming playlist, watch list, that I need to get through. Of course, I have, HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. I do pay the $5 for the minimum of Peacock as well too. I enjoy watching stuff from the comfort of my home, but you know what? I still love going to the movies. All right, guys, let's dive into it. Starting off the year, not a lot really I want to see. The first one I'm going to start off with is March 5th, actually. Raya and the Last Dragon, which is a Disney film. It's going to come to theaters, but also going to go to Disney Plus Premium Access. Now, Premium Access is kind of what they did with the live-action Mulan this last year, where if you were a Disney Plus subscriber, you paid an extra fee of $30 and you got to watch the film from the comfort of your own home. But of course, people were kind of outraged were like, well, we already paid for Disney Plus. Why can't you just give us this movie without paying anything extra? Whatever, you would have paid more than $30 for you and your family to sit down and watch it on a theater, okay? It's much cheaper to watch it at home. And, we turned off our lights and made sure the sound was all the way up. And we have a decent sized TV as well. So it wasn't, the same as going to a theater. But we tried to make it as best we can. And we filled up our living room with people. Overall, it was a better value, I think, than going to the theater as far as, what we spent and the whole thing. So, if Raya and the Last Dragon comes to, Premium Access and I got to pay $30 to watch it at home as opposed to, paying $40 or $50 to take my family to go see it, especially since it's a Disney animated film. So it's something my daughter might want to go see or something I would want her to see. I'm probably going to, do it from the comfort of my own home where I can pop my own popcorn and, have my own snacks and relax in my PJs. That's just me. Everyone's different, I guess. But anyway, the film is set to come out March 5th. The synopsis on IMDb, quote, in a realm known as Lumadara, a reimagined Earth inhabited by an ancient civilization, a warrior named Raya is determined to find the last dragon. So this one, voice casting listed, you have Awkwafina, and then you have Kelly Marie Tran. Now, I know Kelly Marie Tran, kind of a character that people aren't really, too keen on in regards to her character in Star Wars. I'm one of those guys who liked The Last Jedi, and I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of fans, but I did like The Last Jedi. I liked her part in The Last Jedi, and I know that Star Wars fans are divided on that film. Trust me, I know. Me and my wife, both Star Wars fans, and if you want to look at the divide in that fan base for that film, look no further than the McGahee household. But I will say, because of the way Kelly Marie Tran was treated, for her character, for the job of, just playing the character she was hired to play, she took a lot of crap, too much crap, and showed just how toxic fans can be. And because of that, I will always be a champion for her, because I do believe, she seems like a really sweet person, a decent actress. So, given the crap that she had to put up with in regards to The Last Jedi, I'm going to fully support whatever she does. She is voicing Raya in this one, so I'm gonna check it out. It's a Disney film. It's fantasy. I'll wait and hold off and see just as far as previews how good it's going to be. But just from the looks of it, I'm in. Now, also on March 5th, you do have the Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley film coming out, Chaos Walking. That's been in developmental hell forever. It's finally being released. We got a preview for it. I'm not super excited for it, so I'm not going to say it's one I anticipate, but it's definitely one that is on my radar. All right, jumping to the following weekend, we have The King's Man, which is a prequel to The Kingsman, the Matthew Vaughn film with Colin Firth and Samuel Jackson. This franchise, I liked the first film. I did not like the second film. This one looks really cool, talking about the origin of the private organization known as the Kingsman. The synopsis: in the early years of the 20th century, the Kingsman Agency is formed to stand against a cabal plotting a war to wipe out millions. You got this one. Matthew Vaughn is back in the director's chair, which he wasn't in the second. He didn't direct the second Kingsman film, but he's back directing this one. You have Ray Fiennes, who is awesome, of course. You got Stanley Tucci in there. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson, Gemma Arterton, I forget how you say her last name, but she's gorgeous and a fine actress. It's just a great cast, kind of a period piece, which I love. And, just the previews that we've seen for it make it look very interesting. Of course, based off the Kingsman comic book, all that stuff makes me interested to see this film. It was supposed to come out last year around September, I believe, but of course it got pushed off. But I'm anticipating this film, considering I like the material, I like the setting, and the fact that Matthew Vaughn is back as director. Jumping ahead to March 19th, we have Morbius, the next Sony film in the Spider-Verse. I guess you would say Morbius is based off a Spider-Man villain. The plot is, quote, biochemist Michael Morbius tries to cure himself of a rare blood disease, but he inadvertently infects himself with a form of vampirism instead. Now, people are talking about this film, but the main reason they're talking about this film is because in the preview, we got hints that this actually might connect to the MCU in regards to Michael Keaton, who played Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. And then, of course, you got a lot of pictures of Spider-Man like on the wall and stuff like that in the preview. So I think a lot of people are excited about this to see if it actually ties into the MCU more than anything else. That's kind of what I believe. I don't know if they're teasing it, if they're using the trailer for it to get more people to see it by teasing that maybe it might be part of the MCU, but really it's not. Venom wasn't part of the MCU because the way Sony and Marvel kind of have their deal going. I don't know, honestly. Just based off this trailer, it looked okay. I'm hoping it's good. I hope every film I watch is good. I'm going to check it out because it is a comic book film. It's technically a Spider-Man film, so I'm going to check it out. Who's directing this one? Let me see. The director, of course, Jared Leto stars in it. Daniel Espinosa is the director of this film, and let's see what he has directed before. He has directed Safe House, nothing really that I've seen. What's Life? I don't know what Life is. Oh, that film with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. I never saw that film actually, but in any event, I'm going to check it out. If you guys are excited for it, let me know, of course, and we can discuss it. Next up for 2021, we have No Time to Die, the James Bond film that was supposed to come out, I think it was November or maybe summer. It was supposed to come out actually of 2020. This is going to be Daniel Craig's last spin as James Bond. Got a great cast for this one, of course, too. Coming back, you got Ray Fiennes, Leah Sedux, Christoph Waltz, Naomi Harris, hot, and then Ben Whishaw as Q, joined by Rami Malek. Rami Malek? That's what you said. Rami Malek, who is going to play, looks like the villain. Casino Royale, Daniel Craig's first James Bond film, my favorite of the James Bond franchises. Quantum of Solace, not a great film, but when you tie it into Casino Royale, it's actually pretty good. The big one was Skyfall, which honestly I wasn't a big fan of. Then you had, what was the last one? What was it called? And I can't remember. I think it had a Q, didn't it? Anyway, it was my least favorite of all of them. But No Time to Die, another James Bond film. I like Daniel Craig as James Bond. I'm going to check it out. I'm not super excited about it. I watch the James Bond films, but I'm not like a big James Bond fan. Guy directing it, Kerry Joji Fukunawa. I think that's how you say it. Let's see what he has done. He has directed nothing, Beasts of No Nations, some True Detective episodes. That's about it. So, not a bad resume, but nothing to really get excited about. But it's James Bond. It's Daniel Craig's last outing. I'm going to check it out. Let me know if you are. Speaking of things I'm not really excited about, April 16th, we got Mortal Kombat coming out. This one, the original Mortal Kombat film is easily a guilty pleasure, and I love it. I don't care what you say. I own it on Blu-ray. I love it. I love watching it. I think it's a fun, great film. This one, while I like the Mortal Kombat franchise. I played it as a kid. Sega Genesis, I had 1 through 3. I grew up in the era when, Mortal Kombat first came out. So familiar with the movie, familiar with the franchise. This one sees a first-time director, Simon McCoy, with, some fresh writers too. Doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me. And then the cast, while names are recognizable to me, they're not exactly top names that you would be like, oh yeah, they're great. I have to go see this film. I believe in this film because they're in it. Not exactly it either. So Mortal Kombat, again, I feel like I keep on saying this. A film I'm going to go see, but not super excited about it. And maybe that's just how this year is going to be for me. All right, moving along the timeline here. Looks like we got Black Widow coming out on May 7th. Now, by the time this film comes out, it will have almost been 2 years since we got an MCU film in theaters, which is kind of surprising considering we're so used to getting 2 or 3 MCU films within a year, and to go almost, 2 years without one seems a little odd. But anyway, Black Widow, this one, Scarlett Johansson, of course, is starring back as Natasha Romanoff, said, quote, a film about Natasha Romanoff in her quest between the films Civil War and Infinity War. I've talked a lot about this film. It was supposed to come out back in May, so they pushed it back to November, then they pushed it back further. Some people thought it was going to go to Disney Plus, which would have been fine with me. I would have loved to have done kind of like a Wonder Woman 84 thing, where if it was going to come in theater at all, I was going to see in theater. Like I said, that's the way I prefer to see these action fantasy films. So if I can see something in theaters, I will see it in theaters as long as it looks decent to me. Even if it came in Disney Plus and in theaters, I would definitely go see it in theaters. But anyway, Scarlett Johansson has been my number one celebrity crush for years now. She's at the top of my fives list. So, her as Black Widow in this tale, where from the previews it looks like she's going back to her home and dealing with the Red Room where she was trained, and kind of having to, deal with issues that come up along that way. But she has a great supporting cast. She's got Florence Pugh, a great young actress who I think is very up and coming. She's going to be in there playing her sister. You got Rachel Weisz, David Harbour, William Hurt is coming back as General Ross. The film is going to be directed by Kate Shortland, a director who I'm not really that familiar with. Just looking at her credits here, she directed something called Smilf, which is a TV series, Berlin Syndrome, The Secret Life of Us, a couple episodes there. Not a great resume, but again, Kevin Feige is known for taking these directors that we might not know and putting them and doing something great with them. He once said that a good storyteller is a good storyteller no matter how big the scale of the film or project. So if he believes in her, if he picked her for this film, I believe in Kevin Feige, so I believe in the choices he made. But this is a film, like I said, I thought it might go to Disney Plus after a while. But when they had the big Disney investors meeting a few weeks back, and we were expecting maybe they were going to announce that it was going to go to Disney Plus, or again, Disney Plus and theaters, they said, no, we're pushing it back because they know the potential of this film. They know the good faith that Marvel Studios has built over the last 10 to 12 years with its audience. And when the general audience member sees an MCU film, they know they're going to at least get a certain level of quality. They're going to know the brand, and they're going to know they're at least going to somewhat like the film. So they know that transfers over to money. So there's potential money. A film like this has the potential to make $1 billion, which could really help Disney Studios right now, given all the financial trouble that they and other, Hollywood studios are in. So unlike, they saw what happened with Mulan and other films, so they need this film, which is probably the film that probably was going to make them the most money. I think if you look at all the Disney films that were set to come out in 2020, I think this had the most potential to make the most money, being that, again, it is an MCU film, familiar with the franchise, people like the franchise. It had that potential, so they're going to try to capitalize on it. They're not putting it on Disney Plus for now. They're going to try to put it in theaters, get everyone to see it in theaters, and get that money, and I will be first in line for that, guys. But Black Widow coming out May 7th. Can't wait to see it. Now, going down, there are a couple films that I have my eye on, but I honestly say I'm not too interested. You had Godzilla vs. Kong. I saw the first Godzilla movie, didn't really like it. Did not see the second one, and I haven't seen Kong Skull Island, so this one, while it's on my radar, not super excited about it. We'll see when previews come out. Free Guy, the Ryan Reynolds film, looks like a live-action Wreck-It Ralph, which I think looks generic, so might pass on that. And then Fast 9, it's the Fast and Furious franchise. I haven't liked a Fast and Furious film God knows how long, so they should have stopped after like 6 or 7 in my eyes, but those are on my eyes, but I'm not looking forward to them. June 11th, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, as a kid who dressed up as a Ghostbuster with a little bit of a jumpsuit and the toy proton pack, obviously I was a Ghostbusters fan. I love the first 2 Ghostbusters film. The newest one, I know, with Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, is that her name? I didn't think it was as bad as some people thought it was. I thought it was okay, but to me, still didn't live up to the potential. The thing about that film is I don't see why they had to say it's a remake, but still have like the old actors like Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, Bill Murray come in and not play their characters. I don't get that. All you have to do is say it's a sequel. Some of them could be their kids. Like Kristen Wiig could easily be the kid of Bill Murray's character and Sigourney Weaver. I mean, they could have just done a spinoff, done their own thing, but they tried to completely remake it, which I think was the big flaw of the film. But anyway, with this one, they're tying it directly into those first 2 films. And this time, when the old cast comes back, they're playing their characters. Sigourney Weaver is Dana Barrett. Bill Murray is Peter Venkman. Dan Aykroyd, Ray Stantz. Ernie Hudson, Winston Zeddemore. Annie Potts as Janine. They're coming back as their characters. And of course, this one's going to pay homage to the late Harold Ramis, who played Egon in the films and has passed away. And it looks like it's going to be about, Egon's grandkids. You have Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. And then also McKenna Grace, who is a great young actress. They're going to be in it. Paul Rudd's going to be in it. The synopsis, quote, when a single mom and her 2 kids arrive in a small town, they begin to discover their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. Directed by Jason Reitman, who is a great director. Of course, his dad, Ivan Reitman, directed the first 2 Ghostbuster films, but Jason is a great director in his own right. He's done films such as Juno, Thank You for Smoking, and Up in the Air. Big fan of those films. There's another one that I really liked of his too that he directed. I think it was more of his recent one. What's his more recent one? The Front Runner. That was a pretty good one. Totally I wasn't totally happy with. He's directed some episodes of The Office, but I think Up in the Air is my favorite of his. Of course, he gets a lot of credit for Juno as well. But anyway, he's a great director, son of the original director of the first 2 Ghostbuster films, so that gives me confidence. What doesn't give me confidence is the latest trailer that makes it seem like you're going to have a bunch of kids with proton packs hunting ghosts, okay? That's not what Ghostbusters is. I get it. It's Ghostbusters. You want to sell some toys. So, you want the kids to like it. You want the families to come. So you make the kids the main characters and they're the ones hunting ghosts. And you're making Stranger Things, okay? Don't make Stranger Things. Make Ghostbusters. I'm going to check it out. I have every hope it's going to be good. I'm just crossing my fingers on this one, but comes out July. No, sorry, that was the old date. That was the 2020 date. This one comes out June 11th, 2021. All right, going down the list, Venom. Oh, the Venom sequel. Yeah, that's the one. What is it? It is coming out. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, June 25th, 2021. Short on this one, I hated the first Venom movie. I thought it was stupid, ridiculous, and I think this one might be a big piece of crap. And if it is, okay. Continuing, July 2nd, 2021. What better way to celebrate America than with Top Gun sequel? Top Gun Maverick coming out July 2nd. Tom Cruise is back. You got Jennifer Connelly, who is way hot. Jennifer Connelly's way hot, okay? Val Kilmer's back. Miles Teller's in there. John Hamm, Ed Harris. You've seen the previews for this. This one looks like a wild ride. Directed by Joseph Krasinski. Of course, the late Tony Scott directed the first film back in the 80s. But this guy, let's see here, what's he known for? Directing, he did Tron Legacy, which wasn't horrible. Oblivion, another Tom Cruise film. But the trailers make it cool. We know how Tom Cruise likes to do his own stunts. He was flying in the jets in this one, of course. Go watch the trailer if you haven't. I'm not really a fan of, these films that were big 20, 30 years ago, and then the studio's trying to capitalize on this beloved franchise by making a sequel, because it usually is just a cash grab, and they usually suck because they don't put too much effort into it. Tom Cruise, say what you will about him, he puts his heart and soul into his films, and if this one is half as fun as the first Top Gun film, I'm all about it. Let's do it. And did I mention Jennifer Connelly's super hot? I think I might have mentioned that once, because she's super hot. July 9th, we got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the next MCU film to come out. The synopsis IMDb just says the movie, based on Marvel Comics, will focus on Shang-Chi, the master of Kung Fu. Now, this is a character I don't know a lot about. Honestly, as an Iron Fist fan, that's really how I know him. I don't know him, the character individually. I know he's got a current comic that came out, but I think I skimmed through and wasn't a big fan of it. But anyway, Simu Liu, I think, is that how you say his name? He's in the show Kim's Convenience, which a lot of people are about. That's on my Netflix queue. I haven't got to it yet. But anyway, he's going to be playing Shang-Chi. You got other people in there. Let's see here. Michelle Yeoh, great actress. Aquafina, she's going to be in there. Let me click the full cast here and see if there's anybody else. Nobody else for now. But of course, it's MCU. It's Kevin Feige. It's going to be directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. And this guy here, let's see what he's directed. Let's see here. Just Mercy, a film which I want to see but have not gotten to yet. I hear it's really good. So with this one, again, it's MCU, so you're going to have a certain level of quality. I'm not a big Shang-Chi fan. So, not excited about it as I am, say, a Captain America film, but I'm going to check it out. Why? Because it's MCU, it's comic book, and hey, if we get some great kung fu and fighting, that always gets me psyched. All right, skipping over Uncharted, Space Jam sequel, and Jungle Cruise. Jumping right to August 6th, we got The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn. This one is set in the DCU universe. It's kind of almost like a reboot and sequel to the original Suicide Squad film with Will Smith and Margot Robbie. This one does have Margot Robbie back as Harley Quinn. Viola Davis is back as Amanda Waller. Jai Courtney is back as Captain Boomerang. However, they're switching it up a little bit. You have Idris Elba as Bloodsport in this one. We know Nathan Fillion's going to be in it. Michael Rooker, John Cena, Sean Gunn, James Gunn brother, is going to be in it. Peter Capaldi. And I forget what it was called. Was it the DC big, promotion virtual thing they did this past summer, was it? They had a couple of previews for this film, and it looks in the sense of a true James Gunn film. It just looks batshit crazy. The first Suicide Squad film, directed by David Ayer. I like David Ayer as a director. I like the films he's done, especially the Brad Pitt one, Fury. Really like that movie. There was a Jake Gyllenhaal one he did as well. I forget, End of Watch, I think it was. That was a good one too. So the first Suicide Squad film I did not like, but when you look at the story behind it, the story is that Warner Brothers wanted to make that Marvel Studios money. They wanted their extended DC universe to be as popular and make as much money as the MCU, but Man of Steel, the first one out of the gate, didn't do as well as they hoped financially and critically. Batman v Superman did worse financially and critically than they wanted. So once that happened, they started changing other films such as Suicide Squad and Justice League to try to get it in a position where it can make the most money, maybe even feel a little bit more like the MCU. And it did. You could tell, the way that Suicide Squad was edited together, it felt like they were trying to make their own Guardians of the Galaxy. Story is that David Ayer was locked out of the editing bay, and a trailer company came in to finish editing the film. I have no doubt that there was probably a good film in there, given the talent that was involved in Suicide Squad, but it was, studio interference, which I know can be a good and bad thing, depending on how you see it, but I did not like the first Suicide Squad movie. This one I have much more hope for, given the fact that it is James Gunn. I know what quality of film I'm getting with him. So Suicide Squad, I'm not a fan of the Suicide Squad in general, but I am a fan of James Gunn, the DC Universe, and crazy fun films. So I'm all about this. Next one on my list, we have October 1st, Dune. Denis Villeneuve, great director, done some really great films. Of course, his latest one was Blade Runner 49, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but I contend it looked beautiful, sounded beautiful. It was just an interesting film that I think maybe was probably a little too long in my eyes. Arrival, when Arrival came out, I remember I watched it, I think it was the day before the Oscars, because it was nominated for some awards, and I couldn't think about that film if I thought it was really good or really bad, and I settled on the fact that it was really good. But Arrival was good. But my favorite one of his was Prisoners, the one he did with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, the drama one. Oh, great film. My wife would never watch that film though because of the subject matter, but I thought that was a great film. So I think he's a great director. Dune, based off the old science fiction novels. You had the 80s film, I believe, and there was a sci-fi miniseries about it. Big sci-fi, lure in all of it, which hopefully they're looking to do a franchise with. Now, Warner Brothers, has come out and said they're going to put their films not only in theaters in 2021, but also on HBO Max, hoping to build up their streaming service, HBO Max, because that's what studios are thinking right now. They know how much money they can make on streaming services if they build it up. And Warner Brothers, AT&T, whatever you want to call them, they see Disney Plus making all this money and all their subscribers, and that's what they're trying to do. And of course, when you try to play catch up with anyone or try to copy anyone, you're not going to do as well. You're probably going to fail, actually, because you don't, be a success in life by copying someone else. That's just not how it works. Or at least not how it works most of the time. Anyway, Dune, I saw the preview. I'm interested. I like the director. The cast is stupid good. Timothée Chalamet, who's playing the main character, Paul Atreides. I know I said that wrong. Sorry, guys. But him and there's another kid. I forget what his name is, but he's one of two young actors that I think are just stupid talented that are going to have long and fruitful careers in Hollywood. Rebecca Ferguson, Jason Momoa, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård, Javier Bardem. It's just Zendaya, a stacked cast on this one. And you know what? If anyone can pull off this big of a film, it's Villeneuve. Great cast. The subject matter can be really big, and I'm just excited to see the scope of which this film is presented. So Dune comes out October 1st. October 22nd, it's Joe time. Yo, Joe! Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins is coming to, hopefully, theaters, starring Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians. He's going to be in this as Snake Eyes, which is interesting because Snake Eyes is a character who never talks. So, not sure how they're going to do this one. It's funny, for Christmas, I got the G.I. Joe animated movie on Blu-ray, which had been on my Amazon wish list for years, and my mother-in-law, who had me in the Christmas drawing this year, mentioned how long it had been on my list, and I'm like, yeah, because I wanted it and no one's bought it for me. So she had me in the drawing. She bought it for me. I watched it on Christmas Day. I wasn't a huge G.I. Joe and Transformers fan during the 80s, but the animated movies of both of them, I absolutely love. Absolutely love. So G.I. Joe fan, kind of. Animated movie fan, absolutely love. I didn't like the last G.I. Joe films with Channing Tatum and The Rock. I'm going to move on from there and say it's G.I. Joe. I'll go see it, but I'm not super excited given the history of G.I. Joe live action films. November 5th, we get our third MCU film for the year, Eternals. Quote, the saga of the Eternals, a race of immortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilizations. Directed by Chloe Zhao. Is that how you say her name? Let's see what she's directed here. The writer, Songs My Brother Taught Me. Nothing really I know. Doesn't say anything, of course. But the cast, of course, you got Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Richard Madden, Kit Harington, Kumail Nanjiani. Good cast, of course. Eternals, I am familiar with them in regards to the Marvel comics. I, however, am not a fan. And I'm kind of feeling what I think a lot of fans are feeling after Avengers Endgame, okay? Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, the original Avengers are gone. Even your popular characters are gone. I mean, yes, Marvel for years, Spider-Man and X-Men have always been their top draw. But people knew who Iron Man were, people knew who Captain America were, and the MCU made them bigger characters. They're gone now, and much like Guardians of the Galaxy, they're going to have to rely on lesser known characters, people that, unless you're a hardcore, Marvel Comics fan, you really don't know. I mean, I know the Eternals. I don't know much about them. I know I tried to read, a comic or two of the Eternals, and honestly, I wasn't interested. But I can be interested. It's just how they present the material. Eternals, Shang-Chi, all these new characters, new movies they have coming. I have faith in Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios that they will get myself and the general movie-going audience interested in them. This one, Eternals, it's a very big cosmic story from what I understand. Of course, these are characters who've lived for thousands of years, so it's a big scope, and I think that's where Marvel, the MCU, can go, is you can tell these smaller stories like a Falcon and Winter Soldier, dealing with governments and espionage and all that stuff, and still also go cosmic with Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, Eternal, stuff like that. But this one, again, it's MCU. I trust Kevin Feige. I'm excited for a trailer, and we'll just leave it at that, guys. But that one, let's see, it comes out, what did I say, November? It was supposed to come out November this last year, but it didn't. But Eternals, yes, November 5th is when this one comes out. So skipping along, November 19th, we got the next Mission Impossible film, which I'm not a big fan of the Mission Impossible franchise, but the last one, Mission Impossible Fallout, I did enjoy. So to say I am not completely disgusted by this franchise like I am the Fast and Furious franchise would be a little bit of an overstatement, but it's on my radar. It's one of those ones, it's on my radar. December 17th, another MCU film, the Spider-Man 3, the third film from Tom Holland. This one's interesting. Of course, you have your recurring characters like Marissa Tomei and Zendaya to join with. But, of course, we got Benedict Cumberbatch guest starring as Doctor Strange. We got Jamie Foxx as Electro from a different Spider-Man franchise. And then we got Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus from another different Spider-Man franchise. And there are rumors, of course, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield might actually show up in this one as well, which makes the total of Spider-Man possible in this film to 3 for a third Spider-Man film. Go figure. Now, we know from what Kevin Feige said during the Disney investors meeting that this one is tying into 2 other Marvel projects. We have WandaVision, which comes out in about 2 weeks here on Disney+. We have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and then we have this one. And really, we're talking about multiverse. And I think it has to do, if I had to guess, with Wanda, reshaping reality in WandaVision, it expanding even more into Spider-Man 3, bringing in characters from other realities from the multiverse, and then of course Doctor Strange having to maybe clean up the mess a little bit that Wanda and other characters might have made. But it's all 3 tying into a multiverse of madness, which looks like will conclude in Doctor Strange 2. Benedict Cumberbatch gonna be in there. That's kind of interesting. Now for me, when it comes to the other Spider-Man rumors, I originally would have said no, but the fact that you're getting Dr. Octopus and Electro from other Spider-Man franchises makes me believe that there is a possibility that Maguire and Garfield could show up as other Spider-Man. The problem I see with it, though, is that we already had a Spider-Man multiverse film. It was animated, granted, but it was really good. My second favorite Spider-Man movie, actually, besides Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. And then number 3 was Spider-Man Homecoming with Tom Holland. But Sony, look, you've done the multiverse movie. Yes, it was animated, but it was so good, okay? And it was critically good, too. Critics loved it, audiences loved it. Don't just do the exact goddamn thing, okay? Don't be like, okay, let's go into the multiverse now. Don't just do that, okay? Come up with other ideas. Spider-Man's been around for 50 years or so. You got plenty of stuff to deal with, not just multiverse, not just copying another film you did several years ago. I don't know, but John Watts is back to direct. He directed the first 2 Tom Holland Spider-Man films. I like Spider-Man Homecoming. I didn't like Far From Home as much. It was still okay. John Watts is also set to direct the Fantastic Four movie, which I am excited about as a Fantastic Four fan. This one, in regards to the MCU films coming out in 2021, I would put Black Widow number 1. I would put this one, considering it's a Spider-Man character. The 2 characters I know, Black Widow and Spider-Man, I'm more excited about that. I would probably put Shang-Chi at number 3, just because, the cool fighting choreography that could happen in that, I think would be going to be really cool. And then Eternals, while a big galactic story sounds cool, like I said, I've tried Eternals the comic and wasn't a fan of it, so I'm least excited about that. But MCU films, that's kind of my row or my excitement level for the 4 MCU films coming out in 2021. All right, and to finish the year off, as of right now, December 22nd, we're supposed to get a Sherlock Holmes 3 with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. I don't think that's happening. I haven't heard anything about any filming or anything going on with that, so I don't think that's going to happen, although I did enjoy the first 2 films. And then a Matrix 4, which I know is filming with Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss. That's coming out as well, December 22nd. The Matrix franchise, look, I get it. It was revolutionary. The first one was cool. The second one was probably my favorite. And then the third one just shit the bed. So the franchise as a whole, I'm not really a big fan of, to be honest. I'm not. So when you talk about The Matrix 4, Neo died at the end of 3. Spoiler, what else are you going to do? I don't get it. They're just trying to, again, milk a franchise that made them a lot of money and see if they can get more blood from a stone. And I hate it when studios do that. But, who knows? It might be good. We'll see. My wife is a huge fan of the Matrix franchise, so obviously I'll go see it in theaters with her and wait for a preview, and I'll, reassess how I feel about it then. But anyway, that is 2021. Those are the films I am looking forward to in some way, shape, or form. The ones I'm at least going to check out as far as comic books, fantasy, and sci-fi. Got a little tongue twisted there. And that is going to be it for me today, guys. Fire back. Let me know what you think. Facebook group, social media groups such as Twitter, Slim Dayspring 12s, where you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget Dayspring Discussions at gmail.com. And if you go on the Twitter account and Facebook group right now, I just put up a poll about 2 hours ago. I thought about this on the way back from picking up a pizza for dinner. And the question is, what are you more excited about in 2021 in regards to Marvel Studios? So I listed the 4 MCU films we got: Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man 3, and Eternals. But Disney Plus is about to roll out their MCU series. WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and Ms. Marvel are all coming in 2021 as well. So I put up the poll asking people, what are they more excited about in 2021? MCU films or MCU TV? As of right now on Twitter, 60% say the films, 40% say the TV. Let me jump over here to the Facebook group, of course, and see what the divide is here. Let's see here. Well, TV is winning actually by quite a bit. We have 80% for TV and only 20% for the films. I'm going to leave those up for a couple of days. You can, of course, go on Twitter or Facebook and vote for which part of the MCU in 2021 you're more excited about, the films or the TV. Don't forget to comment below, and let's make sure we discuss safely and in a fun way about this great topic. So that is it for me today, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying your 2021, getting off to a good start. Of course, like I said, find me on social media. Talk about movies, TV, comic books. I am always there. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Go out, enjoy your day, enjoy your year, enjoy your life. And until next time, may the Force be with us all.